Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Pre-Hospital Paradigm Podcast. I'm Scott Wildenheim. Somewhere behind that camera right over there is Dr. John Hill. He's going to be joining us in just a second with our guest of honor, Chris Fredmonsky.
Yay!
Yeah. The story in and of itself is worthy of a yay, right? So first of all, thanks for coming back. We're missing your partner in crime over there, Tyler Carlton. He's on his way. We expect him to kind of dart in here any minute. Mm-hmm. But for those of you wondering again why are we hijacking your Facebook feed and your YouTube feed on this beautiful Monday afternoon? So this is our live version of the podcast that has aired for the previous 3 weeks this month, and that was all about your cardiac arrest, obviously survival story, right? Which if you're hearing this for the first time and you haven't tuned into the first 3 episodes, just a quick recap is Dr. Hill was out doing continuing education at your fire department, and Chris suffered cardiac arrest. During the last, it was the last chart that he wanted to review. It was
just
one more
chart.
So at hour 7 or 8 of their run review, he finally had enough. So, but
the thing some people do to get out of these,
I tell you,
I think I won that job.
Well played, sir.
Yes,
it was very well played. But first and foremost, I want to. And I want to thank you for being open and talking about this. After we recorded the episode that aired all this month, I kind of reflected on if this was my story, how willing would I be to sit in front of a camera, talk to people, tell people all these details. I guess I can't even tell you how much we appreciate the fact that you're willing to do it, and you're willing to do it. In traditional, fire and EMS fashion is with a bit of sarcasm and,
Well, it's not like it's a secret. I mean, I know so many people know me. Word get out very quickly.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's
no hiding behind it.
Everybody kind of knew.
Right.
So I'm like, why not share the story? Hopefully somebody will get something out of it. It might help somebody down the road.
Bye.
Hey, better late than never. So yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy I could be here to do this.
Yeah.
And hopefully it'll help down the road somewhere.
It's like I said in our recorded. There you go. Your cord's wrapped around the mic. There you go.
Don't worry, we're live.
Yeah.
Great.
All your friends are watching.
I know.
Yeah.
He was actually here 15 minutes ago. He's been prepping in the bathroom.
Yeah, he done throwing up and decided to come in. But like I said, I was even thinking if this was my story, I don't know how willing I would be. I would hope I would have this thing, but I don't know. It's a big thing, right? Like we were talking, I had a tension pneumoth, I had a simple pneumothorax years and years and years ago in 2001. It's like that's nothing, right? That's
something.
That's just a quick story to tell, right? It's like I got cool scars from that, right? But nothing like I was dead for a period of time and in the hands of others, and that's substantial. That's heavy, So. Thank you all. Thank you so much, Tyler. Thanks for coming back and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, and talking through this resuscitation. We were just getting everybody caught up if they hadn't watched the previous 3 pieces of that aired earlier in the month. Just like we did last time, we are encouraging participation with everybody. We'd love for you to jump in here and ask any of us. Obviously, more so him, but any of us. Tyler again was part of the resuscitation team. Dr. Hill was there, and the patient himself. So we'd really like to.
Do a whole lot. He's kind of laid there the whole time.
We'd love for you to throw some comments in there on Facebook, and John is our. Do we know if our YouTube comments are going to come across yet?
Hopefully they should.
Hopefully, yes. We've got a definite maybe out of the YouTubers. So if you're joining us on YouTube, we may or may not see your comment. Definitely we'll see you on Facebook. and we'll throw them up here. And like we did last time, if we use your
Pay no attention to that.
pay no attention to the monitor charger.
Trying to give me PTSD or what?
The like we did last time, if we use your comments on the air, we're going to send you this grab bag. It is less some gold bars this time. I know you were all excited last time about some gold bars and whatnot. This is the summer pack. So gold bars are gone.
Summer pack.
The summer pack includes, of course, the University Hospital's rain poncho, because life is just not complete without one of those. UH notebook, pens, and of course we got to have the obligatory time-sensitive medicine.
There's a swag bag we talked
There
about
is
last time.
there is a swag bag, right? So
And if you don't like that, you can take what's behind door number 2.
we will, if we use your comment, then we'll DM you afterwards, and we'll get that sent out to you here later and
You better start commenting
later in this later this week.
so you can win that.
Exactly.
So the just to recap, and we were looking at when Dr. Hill comes back, he's got the code stat over here. We want to talk a little bit about that. But one of the things that I certainly found remarkable was your recount of the BLS, of the CPR, right? Just how violent that was, and I cannot imagine waking up and having the sensation of somebody just pounding on my chest.
Yeah, I mean, these guys work out for a reason. It's right here, because to compress this, yeah, it's going to take a little bit. Yeah, it's like I mentioned when I got here earlier, it still hurts at times. Today, I'm having some pain in my sternum. Ran a 12 lead, just make sure there's nothing cardiac.
Yes.
And it's going to take a while to heal. But yeah, it was very, like I said, just violent feeling. But
That's crazy.
yeah,
To have, and you said you woke up and you remember bits and pieces of it. You woke up during some compressions.
yeah, I guess they had shocked me finally into a perfusing rhythm. Kind of consciously, half consciously, I heard the first thing I can remember is the bag.
Right.
And then I'm like, I know that noise, like in correlation. As soon as I said that, I felt the tube in my throat. So I was like, what is going on? And
Right.
I think I reached for it, and that's when they told me, Freddie, you're okay. We got you. I gave them the thumbs up. And that's when they said, Doc's going to put you out. He's going to give you ketamine. And
Gave
gave me okay. And
and
that was it. But yeah, I just imagining laying on your back and just being kind of half out of it, and then just feeling this crushing, this just being jostled around and feeling this violence. And I was like, something's wrong, but you don't know what's wrong. You don't know what's going on. Your brain's kind of like not come about yet. And you're like, I know something's not right, but I don't know what's going on right now.
So,
And that was it. It was just like, wow.
so do you think you would piece that together, that you were on the receiving end of that resuscitation by the time you gave him the okay
Yes,
for
I
the
did. Oh, yeah.
ketamine? You realized,
Yeah,
oh, it's me.
I think I can even remember kind of vaguely seeing a little bit.
Yeah.
And then being put right out.
Were you guys aware that he was awake and after that defibrillation?
Well, I was at the head.
Yeah.
Dr. Hill's over by the monitor. I told Dr. Hill that it looks like, well, we did do a pulse check, of course, but it looks like it's possibly out of not PE.
He was
so
the one
check the pulse.
smacking my hand away as I'm trying to grab for the tube. He's like, no, Freddie, no.
I said, hey, I think we should check the pulse. We did. And then we're talking to him, and he puts his thumb up.
And you're like,
Cool.
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 Was there like this sigh of relief amongst all of you, or was it just plow? We know that there's still a lot going on here, and we're still just going to plow ahead.
I think there was.
Yeah.
After he kind of gave the okay, yeah, I think there was.
Yeah, you're like,
After that, and they gave him the ketamine, it was just chilling the rest of the time today.
yeah. So you're like, holy crap! That all this stuff worked, and we got our guy back.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is completely awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, no kidding. I could not even imagine what the mood would have been like, and then especially realizing we were most likely successful, that and Of course, I personally think I'd be terrified of rearrest, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be watching like a hawk. But we got a hi Scott and a hi Freddie from Tim. Hey buddy, what's going on?
Hey,
haven't,
Timmy.
Yeah, haven't talked to you in a while. So we got all of Kent Fire watching. So
Put in for CE, guys. Put in for CE for this, right?
now, talking about that CPR, kind of recapping what the first 3 weeks. One of the things that is absolutely amazing to me is Tyler, you kind of pointed this out, is we've gotten so used to mechanical CPR devices to using the Lucas and other like devices. That he wasn't a candidate for it, but during that resuscitation, you and the team were managing 40 and 50 end-tidal CO2s just with hands-only CPR. I mean, so that's really a testament to good CPR
Very
can be
good CPR.
be accomplished, specifically when
Yes.
it's your it's your guy, right? But just with hands-only CPR and not the machine, So the AHA kind of laid off this last revision of mechanical CPR devices, and they said they're both about equal, and this kind of points us in that direction a little bit, right? That's really incredible that you guys were just doing monster CPR, and all the other stuff may not have worked, right? If you hadn't.
No, you go, Dr. Hill.
I like the mechanical CPR devices for you guys and us in the emergency department. But if you're trying to move somebody like down staircases or whatever, having them there is very helpful. But you're gonna
I
say,
would agree. I don't want to attribute it to actually knowing someone and trying a lot harder with the manual CPR, but I think it was just everyone's mind that we're gonna work really, really hard here.
No, absolutely.
So, I mean, I'm guessing that's a tribute to it as well, but also having good CPR is also important.
There's we kind of spoke to that a little bit during the recorded session. Is it's a little easier to disassociate yourself and just focus on the job when it's not your people, right? So in the fact that you guys augured in for the better, if you will, and did such a great job. So, and then the BLS part of that, one of the things I absolutely find fascinating about this whole thing is, even though this was a witness arrest, immediate CPR, immediate defibrillation, I mean, you check all the boxes for what should have been a BLS BLS arrest. In theory, there's people every day that get one shock with an AED and they're alive by the time EMS gets there. You were being a little obstinate. You needed.
So. I've said for years that doing this job, I've lost so much sleep that I think my body was just like, no, we're going to go sleep.
Yeah,
This is
I like
it,
this.
we're going to
Nap
get some
time.
rest now. Yeah, let's not do that again.
Yeah, you said, hey, I think I'm going to need some medications, and I was just reviewing before we went live here. You got 4 epis, you got a calcium,
2 bicarb.
100 milliequivalents, or 2 amps of bicarb, 50 and 50, two different
I
times.
think you said 6 defib.
5 defibs,
Okay.
A lot of defibs.
5 defibs, and
Amiodarone.
300 of amio.
Yeah, we didn't have to do the 150. But the 300.
He's on it this time. He's like, I know that second
he's not
150.
gonna get caught
Today
again.
he brought his A game.
So you just let the cat out of the bag. I cut that out of the other. I cut that out
you
of the
know
other
what?
piece.
It's
So now you're making fun of yourself live.
Hey, sometimes you have to.
Absolutely. No, it's certainly in this business. So 300 of amio, and then we talked about the calcium. We talked about the bicarb. And all the defibs, of course. And then, another just kind of fun piece for this, I don't say fun thing, but, interesting thing is we've got all this technology. No video laryngoscope was used on you.
No.
You said your captain just
Old school.
old school, Mac 3, Mac 4, whatever, delivered a tube, and that's that's intriguing to me that we had all those things, and we use them on a routine basis to benefit of the patient. But in this case, they just weren't applicable, and
It goes to show that no matter how far advanced we've become in this line of work, that it's still the basics.
Yep.
And it's still the basics with CPR that anybody can do CPR and possibly save someone, bring somebody back. It's just you still fall back on those basics and training and that, and it still works.
That's kind of fun for me as an instructor with our paramedic program. It's like we make them do. We teach them. We make them do direct laryngoscopy. And they're like, "Oh, we got video laryngoscopes on the truck. I'm never going to do that again." Like, yeah, well, you're going to when
Technology doesn't work.
Technology doesn't work. Batteries dead. Somebody didn't check the truck.
That would never happen.
Absolutely never.
Never.
The oropharynx is full of blood or vomit, and you wash the screen out of it. Turns out you need something to fall back on, and it's really cool to for me to hear that. Even with all that tech, we just still did nuts and bolts stuff,
Yes.
and an amazing result of that. So, we got anybody?
No, everyone's being shy today.
No, don't be shy. We want to answer some questions.
So I got a question for you. So somebody asked me this because they know we were there and talking about it afterwards. First question I got from everybody else was, did you see the light?
I've actually had a lot of people ask, is there something out there? Do you know anything? Can you tell us anything? And this is, do I go down that road? Do I become, this, person? Yes. No. So now I have this following. I have like 150 followers, and they take me around. No, somebody snowed me so quick, I think, with the ketamine that I just don't remember. There was nothing. Like I said, literally, the first thing I remember is hearing the bagging, and then feeling the tube and that. And there's nothing else I can say. I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to say I'm disappointed, but there's, it's kind of like, is there something else? I don't know if anybody ever thinks this way, but you always think maybe that if something's going to happen to you that life altering, what you'll remember and what'll happen.
Right.
And for better or worse, I don't remember.
You got
anything.
these kind of this little snippet of time out of it. And you're like,
That's it.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's okay.
So, what do we got here? Thank you for all you do. Let's see.
Curious how that actually comes up.
Just
Oh, man.
there was a lot there. Let's see.
So as a firefighter EMS, you have a lot of difficult things you have to do to overcome in terms of your health. Just to name a few: regular sleep deprivation, high stress levels, fight-flight activation, variation in nutrition quality, and it kind of falls off.
Are there? Oh, that's a great question. Are there resources provided to you in terms of handling this? Cardiac marker screens on regular basis, inflammatory testing, other health resources. So, if I may split that into basically two questions. As part of your regular employment, is there any of that? And then subsequently, after your event, I'd like to hear a little bit about some of the things that, some of the testing and upkeep you're going to expect moving forward.
So we do have, every year at Streetsboro, we go through a physical the city provides for us, and they do blood screening, EKG, stress test, everything. So we get that every year. The last at least 4 or 5 years, I've had no issues with mine. Other than bradycardic rhythm.
Right, you said that on the first.
Other than that, yeah, but so they do provide that. We get that tested. We've had calcium screenings, and there's just every once in a while it seems like something will come through and they're going to be, hey, we're going to do this testing if you want to do this. So yes, they do provide for us. We are pretty well covered that way to where we can get our our physicals done every year and get checked out.
And then
Screenings.
And then how about this is, I don't know, this would seemingly be tough in my mind, but did the hospital have anything for you after, like, hey, here's how to best navigate this now that you're out of the hospital, out of the ICU, or was it really just kind of like start following up with your doctors and let that drive where you go from there?
So I did not qualify for any sort of cardiac rehab. I guess
How
because
dare you be too healthy?
I know. So I guess my ejection fraction at the time, a couple weeks after, had come up to 50.
Yeah.
And they specifically checked to see if I needed any cardiac rehab. And they said, no, you don't qualify. You can do it on your own if you want, but that costs because your insurance won't cover it. They've just kind of told me to take it easy, make sure you plan the periods of rest, don't overdo it. I have follow-ups about every other week with one doctor or another.
Sure.
Friday, I just had a cardiac MRI downtown at UH. I go see the electrophysiologist Thursday. I think the following week I see my cardiologist. I've seen my sleep doctor. I saw last week my primary care doctor. So it's just a bunch of follow-ups right now, but there's nothing nothing else they're putting me through. But I've had echoes. I've been to the device clinic for the defibrillator. So it's just kind of that's the road I'm going down right now.
So if the world didn't watch the first three parts, of course, as a result of this, it yielded you getting a
Pacemaker,
AICD,
ICD,
yeah.
Yep.
So as and earlier you were talking about, kind of between your sternum and your surgical scar. So that's of course the scar where they put in the pacemaker. So obviously it's up here in your chest. You can get one down lower.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah. Have you felt anything out of that?
No.
Can you tell any differences?
So when I go into the device clinic, they will run a series of tests on it, and they will take my heart rate up to, I think, 120 and 130, and then bring it back down to check to make sure that it's working on their end.
Sure.
And I can feel it when it gets up there. You just kind of feel your heart race a little bit, and then they bring it back down. It paces. I think they said it was pacing me the one day about 50% of the time.
Oh, really?
Don't feel anything.
That was going to be my question. Is
Yeah.
are you aware that it's
No,
pacing
not
you,
at all.
and how much after they interrogated it was it pacing you? So like 50% for that particular day, or
Yes,
just in general?
about over time. They said about 50% of the time.
50% of the time.
Because my rate is set at 60.
Sure.
So if I drop below that, and I've typically been running between 60 65, so occasionally it drops below and it kicks in, but I won't know it unless it defibs me, which
About to say,
hopefully
and then-
does
and
not.
then-
Hopefully
and-
never.
So the next question obviously is a hard no, that it hasn't sensed on a.
No, I've been on patients before that have had their pacemaker
Sure.
going off, and I can kind of remember that a little bit in the way they could tolerate it, but they're just, 1 minute they're like, yeah, it's good. Son of a, and they're like, it just did it again. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to get you to the hospital really quick.
So I know it was very exciting. Very exciting for you, but you drove here. I know you were really bummed out about needing to catch rides. And
The
stuff.
doc didn't have to come pick me up
And
this
then
time.
we didn't have to ferry you here to talk to you.
No more chauffeurs, no more.
Get that freedom back is just
Oh
gotta
my
be.
gosh. You don't realize how much you take something that simple for granted until you can't do it anymore. And it's like,
Especially like driving.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, if I could never drive again, that'd be horrible.
So no Freddie for president?
No.
Be like Bush drive on his ranch in his personal vehicle. That's
Exactly.
the only place to let him drive.
I got too many nice vehicles I like to play with and that
Right.
to
You
not
said
be
you had
able
some
to drive.
toys,
Oh yeah,
Jeeps
yeah.
and whatnot.
Yep.
That's. Yeah.
So when you've gone for your device checks, have they any rhythms where they're trying to like overdrive, pace you out of anything?
No, just kind of Brady down. Just
Brady.
On.
Okay.
Like I said, it paces me about 50% of the time. They said,
Okay.
but nothing else. Nothing's popped up. They just checked it Friday when I was up there and said everything's so good.
They indicate if that was during the day or at night.
No,
good
they
question.
just said.
Yeah, I'd really be curious.
Yeah, they just said overtime. I'm sure at night it probably.
Of course.
is when
It does
really
because
kicks
it's
in.
normal actually.
That's for
And
your rhythm to drop. It'd be a little slower at night.
Then you said your pacer is set for
60.
460. So
Yeah, so there's lots of people, and it's normal to have a sinus bradycardia when you're sleeping. I would bet $5 that Tyler over there goes bradycardic when he sleeps.
He's so
I do.
chill. He's just always there.
He's always bradycardic,
do.
barely
It
alive.
goes to 40. Not kidding.
I believe you. So yeah, that's totally normal.
healthy specimen. I think I think if I get below 80 when I sleep, it's a good day. But it's all the caffeine.
All right, Marco, pick another one.
What else we got
Oh,
there?
There we go.
Mustachio.
So, Robin wants to know, how did you feel prior to your arrest? Did you have any warning signs, or do you have any fears about it happening again?
Nothing that I can remember prior to it. I felt okay that morning other than normal firefighter fatigue. So nothing that I can remember. Yes, do I worry about it? All the time. For the first probably month I was home, every night I'd go to sleep and I couldn't get to sleep at
bet.
first. So I'm like, all right, am I going to wake up if I go to sleep now? So, I mean, that's always in the back of my mind. It's just one of those things. Hopefully nothing ever happens, but
Must be nice to know you've got a safety net right there.
it is, but it's still, I mean, it's, it's still nerve-wracking sometimes.
know,
Like
it's not
I said
infallible, right?
earlier, I overdid it a little bit this weekend, and I've had this kind of discomfort in my chest all day, and it's exactly the way I felt about a month and a half ago when I actually called 911. I had Stowe Squad come pick me up and said, hey, I'm having this pain. If I breathe in, if I move too much, I go, it's different from any of the other pain I've had. I want to get checked. 12 lead was fine. They said, we're going to take you in.
Yep.
Of course.
They transported me. They did blood work as soon as I got in, did 12 lead. Everything looked good. I was in the ER for about 4 or 5 hours. Blood work again. 12 lead the whole time. Couldn't find anything. The only thing they think is the sternum is still not healed from the CPR. And I think I just aggravated it this weekend.
Of course.
So before I came here, 12 lead, checked myself. All right, looks good. Brought it for the doc to look at. There you go. And anytime I feel anything out of normal, now I'm kind of like,
It's got to be a little nerve-wracking, yeah.
is it cardiac? Is it muscular? So, and I'm like, I better go get checked. It's changed my life in that thinking.
Of course.
So from the medicine side of it, we doctors, we feel better that you have this device in. And even if you were to have an event that you get a cardioverted out of, that's why your device is there. And there's often times, depending upon the patient and the doctor, we'll just, it cardioverted you, we're going to check some basic labs, we're going to interrogate your device, make sure your device is working properly. If everything's working properly, we often will send them home and you just follow up outpatient because the device did exactly what it was supposed to do. Because you do have that built-in safety net now.
Yeah, I wondered how that worked. If it did, how far do you look into a cause of why it went in that rhythm at that time? And yeah, that was it's in the back of the mind all the time.
Sure. But you're carrying around a better than a Life Pack 15 in your chest.
That's right.
Costs more than one too.
I don't know. Their prices are going up.
No, I saw the bill for this one.
All right. John, you have the Dr. Hill. You have the code stat there.
Oh yeah.
You want to talk about some stuff on there?
Sure.
I've kind of already addressed the great CPR and the CO2 throughout.
Yeah. So you want to do code stat, or you want to do just his resuscitation and like drugs he got?
So I spoke very briefly about those, but
Okay.
yeah, you can just give them the overview here of what it looks like from the code stat from the summary side from the monitor defibrillator.
Sure. So for those of you that don't know, CodeStat is a product that Physio Control Stryker puts out with their monitors. So we get a summary of all the cardiac arrests as the medical control doctors as well as the people from the actual fire department for them to review. So across the top of this, we get 4 different breakdowns and gauges. Total time of CPR, compression ratio, compression rate, and compressions per minute with a gauge of basically green. And across the board, Streetsboro did a fantastic job. They're in green across
Let's
the
say they're all in green.
They're all in green. They all did.
I don't know much about a lot of
Yeah.
things, but a lot of green is good over there.
A lot of green is good. So CPR ratio was 86%. Compression ratio was 82%. Compression rate. Apparently, Streetsboro works out a lot, so we're doing 124 compressions a
Have you
minute.
seen the guys you were there that day? You saw them.
So they're going a little bit fast, which could make sense for, especially when you're working on your own guy, right?
Right.
That your adrenaline's pumping. Goal there is always between 100 and 120. If you ever see one of these reports and you have a Lucas device, if you see 102, that means that the Lucas device was on. They're programmed for 102. And then compressions per minute, we actually averaged it out to be 100, which is appropriate, not just for like breaks between moving you or doing rhythm checks, those types of things. It averages out to about 100 per minute. It shows me an initial rhythm was definitely V-fib, as we all saw, except for Freddie, because he checked out on us. Get a nice graph of all of our CO2 every minute. And yeah, you were high the whole time, about 70 when he first put it on you, and then you were kind of riding above 50 the whole time, which is very impressive, which means you had brain activity going on, you had great CPR, you had good flow to all of it. Yep, that's all it is. You got 6 defibrillations.
Stand corrected.
That happens. I want to think it gives me even stats of how often, like, maybe scroll down, yeah. So we only had 4 pauses over 4 seconds based upon what was recorded. Now that could also be if the monitor leads come off and those types of things, but which definitely at least one of them does. So only 4 instances of pauses over 10 seconds. CPR was needed for 15 minutes and 15 seconds, which was done during that whole time. And then we got documented ROSC and your ketamine and transport. And then the energy appropriately increased, which I'm glad it did, because I kind of forgot up until about the 4th or 5th one just to double check that. But yeah, initially shocked at 200, 300, and then 360 each time afterwards.
360 thereafter.
Yep. Pretty cool.
Got to say hi to Gary real quick. Hi, Gary. Gary, it's iced tea.
Special iced tea?
So I think Gary's comment was to Eric's. Go ahead and click on Eric Moss's comment there. So Eric wants to endorse a good mustache in the fire service.
That's all Tyler. I mean, I've had this thing since like the 6th grade, so it's all him.
I'm going on a year now.
Is that when you can first start growing a mustache?
Yes.
It's all those supplements. Doing a good job.
Thanks, Freddie.
Doing a good job, my friend.
So during the resuscitation, Dr. Hill, you obviously having the medical director there is a unique situation, right? We, you know, not to say that a lot of our docs don't hop on calls when they're doing CE, just like you did, right? Of course, you weren't not going on this case.
It's absolutely going in this.
Yep.
They asked me, I'm like, why wouldn't I?
Why exactly? I'm just standing here, but you called for some medications that we don't.
That are not in
that
protocol.
are not exactly scribed in protocol in the manner in which you called for them, and that was after some epi. There was some early bicarb and calcium use, and what's your take on that? And I guess I want to reinforce that that's still not protocol.
Still not protocol.
It's still not protocol. These were real time decisions being made by the medical director that was on scene. That is what medical control is for. If you do feel these are appropriate interventions, but what's your thought process behind the early bicarb and the early calcium for these cases?
Sure. So I think most ER doctors, and maybe it's just we're all trained that way to include it. My personal viewpoint is I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at this patient. They're already technically dead. I can't make them more dead than what they are. So my thought behind that is that by definition, a dead patient is going to be acidotic. So the only thing I can do to change that is going to be I can ventilate you and move blood and exchange that CO2 to help with the respiratory acidemia. I can't do anything to help with the metabolic acidemia.
Correct.
The only way that I can change that metabolic acidemia is with bicarb. So that's why I choose to give bicarb and give bicarb early. I typically give 2 rounds of bicarb for all my arrests. And that's just to change the metabolic acidemia from more acidic to a little bit more less acidic. It's not going to fix it over quickly. And bicarb only lasts a few minutes. If you guys are ever giving bicarb or in the emergency department, when we're giving bicarb, watch end tidal. Let's say a patient's end tidal is 15, you give bicarb, you'll actually watch the end tidal increase and then come back down to baseline. That's bicarb. That is you bagging the bicarb off. During that time frame, you get a slight change in the patient's pH in their bloodstream. And I do that because the medications we use are all designed to work at physiological normals. If the body is acidemic and not at physiological normals, some of the medications don't work. Epi very classically
Yep.
doesn't work if the body's acidemic. So by giving bicarb, I've actually seen patients where you've given 6 bicarb or 6 epis to, you give them bicarb and all of a sudden they're out of it, they're tachycardic because all that epi essentially just
Is now working,
It's now working.
And the reason that carbon dioxide peaks up is because that bicarbonate is taking acid and turning it into water. And carbon dioxide.
Yep.
And
So
that carbon dioxide, every time you squeeze that bag, is
Correct. And
is what you're seeing
That's what you're
ramping
seeing
up.
in your end tidal, because your end tidal is end tidal CO2. It's your CO2 that you're blowing off. So as that number back returns back to normal, all that bicarb or all the CO2 that's created by the bicarbonate is now gone.
So normally, if we were, working a cardiac arrest, we had a low CO2, and we saw that number trending up, that would indicate to us that we likely could have ROSC, right?
Yes.
And we'd be happy to see that. But that's kind of a, I don't say a pitfall, but it's a pearl that you need to know if you are putting bicarb on an arrest case, because you're going to see it trend up. You might think about, oh, we have ROSC, we're getting them back, and it's really just a bicarb.
Correct.
Being bicarb, right? Doing its thing.
Yep. And what I do when I'm teaching with nursing students, medical students, even in the emergency department, I say, hey, we're going to give bicarb. We're going to watch end tidal. And I think last time I did this, like, hey, okay, our baseline is going to be 20 at this point. We're going to give bicarb. We're going to watch it peak and then come back down. It peaked to like 32 and then stayed there.
Ooh.
I'm like, that's not supposed to happen. Let's give another bicarb.
Yeah.
And then I got ROSC after that second bicarb. Now, patient didn't survive. They were down too long, and that's part of the problem when I'm seeing them in the emergency department, is they're already down for like 30, 40 minutes. And your likelihood of a good neurological outcome at that point is essentially zero at about 40-ish minutes or so. So typically what most ER docs do is we'll have you come in, we'll do our bicarb, we'll do calcium because, again, why not? And see if that fixes it.
Sounds suspiciously like you're trying to fix H's and T's to me.
It is, and that's the other thing, is that bicarb and calcium actually are in the protocol, and they are part of ACLS if you're trying to fix H's and T's.
Correct.
So why not try to fix all of the possible causes of the arrest in front of you and throw everything at it?
And we're really heavy on the protocol side, is specifically in the toxicology for the use of the use of the calcium. So,
Yes.
But it's in there. Looks like we have a Michelle Van Cannigan asking.
Well, before we go there, sorry.
No.
I do want to say, though, and I'm just verifying this, you can give calcium and bicarb in your dialysis patients.
Correct.
So it is still in the protocol. I know you're not a dialysis patient, but also at the same time, when you arrested, I didn't know your medical history. I was asking guys, does he have a seizure history? Because, again, that's what it first looks like, and most cardiac arrests look like. It looks like a seizure because, essentially, you're having no blood flow to your brain, your transmitters fire, and you look like you're having a seizure, but it's just the beginning of the cardiac arrest. So that was obviously my brain first goes. So just not knowing your medical history, just throw everything at you. See what sticks. Mm-hmm. And there is a newer study out there that shows bicarb in out of hospital arrests is beneficial in a very small study, but looking for more research to be done in that case.
And back to the seizure thing, I recall some dispatch center stats from long ago, and the numbers escaping me, but there was of cardiac arrest cases that did not come in as cardiac arrest, the most common the most common presentation was it was called in as a seizure. You know, basically for that's, you know, the patient is, you know, in a tonic-clonic seizure because their brain doesn't.
You still get that.
They're
a lot.
hypoxic right now.
We get calls all the time. And it's like we think they're having a seizure,
You walk into
and then you hear as you're en route,
Yep.
patients not
CPR,
breathing.
CPR in progress.
progress,
Yeah,
yeah.
PD's on CPR in progress, whatever. You know, so you know, just again, something throw in the back of your head. It's just like, well, we're going to treat this like an arrest until proven otherwise, right?
Exactly.
So, did you have something else on there?
Nope,
Or
that's
you want to get to answer.
We'll go to more questions.
All right, question for you.
Hey, Dr. Hill, is there anything you would have done differently looking back at the run review? No, actually. So we talked about this in the.
We are perfect.
We are in every single way.
We hit it out of the park.
Would I do anything different? No. Could we have been better? Yes. I feel that one of the bad things that happens, especially when something happens at the fire station, or if you guys get a walk-in, right? Guy walks in, he just wants his like blood pressure checked, right? You've got, you sit him down, you've already got a machine there to check blood pressure, right? He goes, I got a chest pain. So you got to walk to the squad, get your bag and stuff, right? Bring that out to the patient and then assess them that way. And that's what happened with you is you went down, we were there, but we were naked. We didn't have any of our equipment that we need. We didn't have our life pack, we didn't have our monitor, whatnot, we didn't have the cot. So we start trying to assess the situation. We realize you're not waking up. Someone then gets that stuff. I would argue that we watched, you were in a rhythm. I think it was perfusing. But as we were putting all the stuff on you, we all watched you actually arrest. We watched you, your whole body just kind of relax. So from that standpoint, it would have been better if we would have already had our equipment there. And if we were going on to a call, you guys bring all that stuff in with you as opposed to what was different here. So that's probably the only place that we could have been better. But that's probably the only thing that could have been better with it. We could have maybe gotten IV access or some IO access on you earlier than what we did.
I am a very difficult stick. I've come to find after this. So literally, yeah,
There's a couple bruises there.
yeah. You want to see a couple?
Yeah, no, that's.
I had my cardiac MRI on Friday. 3 nurses and 9 sticks before one took.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Just say IO right here.
exactly, but I don't want to do that.
No.
I literally told them, I go, yeah, last, I had to have an IO, and then I had to have a second IO, and they just kind of like, so don't feel bad when you miss. It's okay.
Yeah.
Did which IO popped out? The tibia or the humeral? There's the humeral head that popped out.
Yep.
And were you doing drugs, or were you doing that?
I was doing the drugs.
You were doing the drugs at that point. Do you recall? Did they put a
I watched it.
stabilizer on it, or
I don't think they did.
no?
I don't think we did either.
Did you catch it in midair, like reflexes? You're like,
I tried. All I remember them hearing is like, "Hey, it came out." Like, well, that's good.
We didn't do that.
so what came out? What?
And it came out with a
a defib,
with a
yeah.
defibrillation. So when you
I
jerked
don't
it,
even lift anymore like I used to either.
you just ripped. He flexed once and shot it across the truck.
But I think that all goes to, and you guys are a full-time professional firefighter and EMS squad, that you guys have all that training. The training kicked in. You guys did what you're supposed to do. I just happened to be there. Yeah, from that standpoint, everything went exactly as we and they have trained and have a great outcome because of it.
So you're back to driving.
Back to driving April 9th.
Are you back to work? He's
I was waiting for that. You don't understand. I mean, they're like, you can't drive until April 9th. I'm like,
I'll set an alarm.
yeah, like 105 hours and 37 seconds till I can drive again. Damn. So yeah, I was allowed to drive again April 9th and actually return to work
And that was the
light
next,
duty.
Yeah, that was the
on
next question.
10th.
So back to work, light duty.
Yes.
Yeah, and then still up in the air on what Doc's going to do, or is there a pathway to get back, or
So I'm not 100% sure what the future is gonna hold right now. The docs will not let me drive commercial vehicles anymore. Liability issues they're stating. So I can't drive a fire truck, can't drive a squad. And they've actually said that I can no longer perform any firefighting or EMS work in the field. I came back
Terrible.
knowing I was going to go hopefully into fire prevention and just do that for my last 5 years.
Yeah.
And then my second day back, I was informed that because my status per the doctors is a light duty status, I can only stay in there light duty for 720 hours per our contract with the city. And then after that, I was told I'm going to have to start burning sick time.
So still up in the air.
And I've not been informed any further as to what goes on after that, what's going to happen. So I might have to try to go and medically retire.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Because I don't think there's any other way that they're going to let me stick around and just just be in prevention and that. I don't know. Like I said, so there's a couple of different things that I'm just trying to work through right now, and also trying to get through all these doctor's appointments, and like I said, with the cardiac MRI and everything else.
Right.
So yeah,
Oh, that's a shame.
we'll see what happens.
Oh, yeah, but we got anything else up there? Let's see. We talked about the symptoms in hindsight. I want to know if you got a save pin.
I did not get a save
Uh-oh.
pin.
Did you issue yourself a save pin?
I did not.
All right, I'll get you one.
Okay. Tyler, you should get one too.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It'll be in your swag bag.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna just start texting. Get that flag bag.
He's under the table here. Going,
Yeah. Nobody else out there in the internet world has a question for us. That's actually figured we'd get. I figured we'd get a ton of well wishes. To be quite honest with you.
I've had a lot of those.
I imagine you have.
It's yeah, I've had a lot of those outside of here, and still running into people. The EMT student that was there that morning when it happened, I just saw him Thursday. He actually came driving through as I was pulling out of the station to go do something, and like, hey, wait a minute.
I recognize you.
Yeah, so we talked for quite a while and that, and you know, I told him I hope I didn't scare him away from all this. He's like, no, and it's just like just the opposite. And he's finished his EMT. I think he's going to fire school now, and then he's looking at medic school.
Yep. The did he ride with you to the hospital, or did he stay
No,
back?
I don't think
No,
so.
it was pretty crowded in there.
I imagine it was. And how many people in total went or working on you? So there was obviously you two, you three,
There's
the guest of honor, and at least you
Four of
two.
us back there.
There was four
Yeah.
providers
Four
back
providers,
there. So there
the
was
driver.
yeah. So and
It
you
was
said
packed.
yeah, I imagine. And you said that the CPR switches was, even though it really wasn't all that rehearsed anymore because of Lucas and CPR devices, you said you guys were just
In a rhythm. You just know where to go.
yeah. Nobody was saying, oh, I gotta switch, I gotta do. It was
Like they'd ask, like, hey, you want to switch real quick? Like, yep.
yeah.
Next thing. It was quick.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
I was talking to Dave Moore at Kent, and we were talking about all of his duties that he has. And I think that one of the things that this highlights, and we talked about it during the first episode, was staying and playing versus loading and going. So we stayed and played for a while with you. We were on scene for quite a while, doing our first assessment, getting you packaged up for transport. We secured your airway. We got IV access before we even started to roll. And that's because there's nothing that the ambulance doesn't have that the hospital has, that we have everything that we need to do a thorough resuscitation of you than anyone else. Now, in your case, because you were a VFib arrest, we always transport those, right? Because the next decision point is, does he need a cath lab? Does he need to go to emergently to cath lab, or is this a non-emergent cath? For you, we did an emergent cath. And that's the appropriate thing to do, is stay and play, establish your airway if you need it, get your IO, get all the resuscitation started, and then start moving towards your final destination. And when we got you resuscitated appropriately and converted en route, right? And you were stable. You gave that thumbs up. You gave that okay. We gave you the ketamine. So I just kind of want to reiterate that to all the EMS squads out there, that you guys have all the tools and all the training that you need at a paramedic level to do all that resuscitation in the field. You don't need to quickly pack everything up and go, unless, of course, there's a reason to do that. But that reason's not, the hospital has something that I don't. You guys have everything, all the tools and things you need at your disposal in your medical box with the training you have to appropriately take care of these patients. So big question there. Go ahead and click on that, Mario. From Jason. So great to see you laughing and smiling, Chris. Huge job well done. How is everyone doing following this event? We'll start there, I guess. You're doing great.
Yeah, I mean,
How's the firehouse doing? How's
Your colleagues?
yeah.
We haven't really talked about it in a while. I think everyone's just kind of processing it in their own way.
Sure.
I mean, sure. I mean, after probably a couple weeks after, there was a lot of conversations about it, of course. But it's like that shock and awe. You're like, I can't believe that just happened.
That really happened, right?
Honestly, you never thought that was going to happen in your career. You'd hope you wouldn't. And I mean, yeah, there's times you still think about it, but there's always going to be things that stick with you. Unfortunately, it's the job that we chose.
When you're you know, well, when he comes back to give CE, or is somebody worried about who's next?
he came back. I was
I
actually
have
there,
him back,
but
yes.
they had me doing other things, so I did not get a chance to sit in on his
I don't know why
CE.
they didn't have you in that room. That's
They,
weird.
They ushered me out right away, and they said, "No,
No.
doctor's
Once is
orders.
a-
You're not allowed to be in there." I'm like,
Once is enough.
Light duty does
But in-
not qualify for this.
Right.
it's
And
really odd.
but in all seriousness, you know, do you look at your colleagues, you know, differently, like wondering if any, you know, if this would ever happen again to somebody else around the station, or I mean, does it bother you personally? I mean, it's
Hey, you think about it, but
yeah. But previously, it would never entered your mind.
never even thought about it.
Yeah, now
He shudders every time I walk into the door.
yeah. I could walk the other way when I said, Freddie, I can't do it.
He tries not to be in the room with me at all. You know, he's got
Hey,
something
pal,
happens.
Honestly, I think it's like with some people, man, like just a little bit. Man, I'm still pretty new, but it actually opened up conversations and relationships with people that I didn't think I was actually gonna talk. You know, don't give the new guy time of day kind of thing,
Yeah.
and actually have conversations with people more often.
That's
Because of
the
this, I learned
unfortunate
his name.
situation.
I mean, he's not just the guy in the corner now. I'm like, hey, his name's Tyler. All
All
right.
right.
He did a good job. I owe him.
But what I say for morale, I mean, people make jokes, they talk jokes, so maybe that's
Yeah, that's
maybe
how- that's how most
maybe
of
they are
us-
sad. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean, that's how most of
Don't
us
show it.
that's how most of us cope, right? Is sarcasm and humor, right?
I say hi to Shannon out there. Hi, Shannon.
What does Shannon say? I agree, Shannon. Completely agree.
I second that.
How much more do you want? So Shannon asks, would there be a chance of you all coming and doing a monthly CE to do a Q&A in person? This is the Q&A, so ask your questions now. I could maybe possibly see us doing something in the future, just because it's a unique story. But that's kind of why we started this podcast and are doing it in this fashion. That the fourth Monday of every month is a way for us to interact with everyone that is out in the UH community, or not necessarily in the UH community, in Northeast Ohio, and even
National community.
yeah, of people that take care of other people, other paramedics, other basics. So
And then,
this is your chance.
and you know, John, just to your point, you know, this was we had other things slated for
Yep.
this last month, that the pre-recorded stuff, and we booted all that to the side, and when we realized that you were well and we could get you in here and you were willing to tell your story,
Oh, absolutely.
and you were really willing to point somebody else drag in and help tell the story, that we rearranged everything. So next month's episode, which has been recorded for some time now, was actually supposed to be in this spot. So we moved this up because it was timely and it was relevant, and we wanted to wanted to get it out there. But
Any other questions we didn't
see here.
All right, so there's a formal acronym soup, CISD, performed after the call, or an informal kitchen table and coffee discussion.
It was formal.
You guys did one?
Yeah, it was like
formal.
immediate, maybe an hour after.
Okay.
No one actually wanted to talk, which is completely understandable.
Sure.
But they provided the resources. It was pretty quick.
Yeah. Who had that up? They bring somebody in, or somebody on your
I forget
on your
their name.
I
department?
think we've got a team in Portage.
Yeah. I forget their names, honestly.
But
Yeah.
it was from outside the firehouse. It was
Yeah.
somebody in from the hospital community that came in. And all right.
No, Gary wasn't. I very much appreciate you.
I say hi to Jason. I haven't seen Jason in a long time.
All right.
All right. So I guess we're getting close to an hour here. We
Yeah,
try to
we're-
cap out here an
That
hour.
went quick.
It did, didn't it?
Hope you guys enjoyed this whole interview process and the podcast and doing the live show.
Yeah, I can say I have. I've got a lot of positive feedback, people that have watched it, and everybody said it was entertaining, good to watch, and informative, and they didn't know UH had something like this out there. So I think now that they know, they're going to be checking in and watching more and seeing what you guys are doing. So
Absolutely, we hope so. And almost like you set us up for that, for the segue into next month is Dr. Jordan Singer from Elyria Hospital. He's doing a whole bit on toxicology, some heavy lifting stuff. So the first of those 3 episodes is bring some coffee. I mean, that's that guy's got an incredible amount of knowledge, and he dumps it out there for us about toxicology. Very, 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 very good stuff, and stuff that's actually actionable that we can do as paramedics and EMS, and in, I'll say, routine, but fairly common presentations of cases. So Dr. Jordan Singer. That again, first three Mondays will be that pre-recorded session, and then we'll bring him on 4th Monday.
Yep.
And then we're going to have some bonus material next month, because there's actually 5 Mondays next month. So we're going to have a special, and that 5th Monday is Memorial Day. So we'll have a special, a special topic on Memorial Day, exclusive of the previous 4 weeks. And we want you to check us out. New website. Dr. Hill in his spare time, he just whipped together. So that's prehospitalparadigm.com, or you can also check us out at uhems.com. And of course, follow us on Facebook, like us on YouTube. I feel like I'm becoming the quintessential.
You're an influencer.
I'm a quintessential influencer now. I'm just getting that rolling off the tongue, right? Like it's supposed to be. So.
Yep. So with our new website, we're going to have notes up about each episode.
Yep.
So you'll have some show notes up for each episode, who's on there. If we talk about any products, CPAP, we've got links out there to the Emergent and then the Pulmodine products that we talked
For that
about there.
CPAP circuit. Yep.
When we get the show notes up for the pharmacology one, we'll have notes to Certidose and all those
Absolutely.
type of things. And then for this one, I'm going to have some extra resources up on there. I talked to Chris. We'll put up his code stat so you guys actually look at his code stat and see the excellent care that he got in Streetsboro provides. And I may or may not include a chest X-ray so you can see all your broken ribs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I haven't seen that yet, so sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to see as well.
Let's
Educate
see
me.
what you did. You would get a copy so he can sign the one that he broke.
uh-huh.
Like this
Okay.
is
I wanna
This
put
was
it on my
fine.
fridge.
Everybody sign it.
Put it on my fridge and frame it.
And also on that website, one of the things we're going to be doing, hopefully for our bonus episodes,
Yep.
is going to be like a mailbag episode. So we have the opportunity here that you guys can ask us questions live on air. There's now a form on there that you guys can go on to. You can submit your questions either with that form. We'll kind of build them up, and then when we do our bonus episodes during the year, we'll pull from that and just ask kind of like random questions. So like ask me anything type of thing.
Just a mail
that'll
grab
be a good
bag.
one.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, the good news is we'll see them ahead of time. We'll choose what comes out of the mail bags.
What fun! What fun is that? You want the spontaneity of it all, don't you? Just be like,
Have
put
you
the
met
bag out here, pull it out.
Have you met those people? I've met those people.
Most of them. That's what I'm saying. You know, you want it to be entertaining, people to watch. Be like, what's in the grab bag today?
But yep, prehospitalparadigm.com. Hop on there, submit your questions. Don't know if this particular fifth Monday is going to be a mailbag or not. Hopefully, we'll have some stacked up. That would be fabulous. We'd like to do that. Hint, hint.
And I don't have that form even asking for your name, so we can be totally
You can
anonymous.
be totally anonymous. Yep, and, totally anonymous. But
Right. Anything you guys want to say in closing?
Thanks for having us. Thanks for everybody who've watched my entire story. Thank you for everybody who's reached out to say hi, to check on me and my family. That just thanks for doing this and that. This may have helped me a little bit getting through everything. It may have helped the guys that I work with, friends, family, just to see everyone who I haven't seen in person could see that I'm doing okay. They can ask their questions. They can see the whole start to finish. So yeah, it's been very good.
Everything Freddie said more. I mean, he checked every box. So
leaves you nothing.
Don't you see this note right here? They're like a little prompter
His
back
teleprompter
here.
back here. It's just scrolling
Say
past.
this. Okay.
Awkward
Thanks to our
laugh now.
sponsors,
So, all right. Well, we'll hopefully see you again in a month with Dr. Singer on our next live show. Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic Monday.